Sniff, 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 sniff. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one. I mean, he must have found one, right? Because obviously the mailman wouldn't pick up the envelope, wouldn't pick up the letter without the postage stamp. I would imagine? Maybe he just run out? Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps. Not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible. Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of the poison stamp? Jesus, I'm fucking doing a horrible job this time around, huh? I'm already close to game over. Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection. So what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been, you shithead. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atrocanine residue! What? Why wasn't I told about this? The frame is only 2 inches squares. 2 inches square, whatever. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most. Weird. It's weird that there's no like glass cover to it. I mean, it's only. I'll explain why in a minute, like later on. But, maybe an inch wide at most. You aren't saying? Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps? Order! 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 So here's the thing, right? It's a commemorative stamp, meaning it was a very important stamp of some sort, to some degree. If they went through the trouble of putting it in a frame, why would you not have a glass, like a covering to it? You know how frames have like the glass cover on the outside to protect it? Why didn't it have it on there? Unless it did and they just removed it and they just didn't bother putting it in. I don't know. Never mind. Order. The poison stamp was in this frame. Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin? Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see? What, Mr. Brushel? And please stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too. End quote. So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. Oh, rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gavinier song lyrics, please. Man, you're not even a band anymore. Your fucking partner's in jail, presumably. Finally, something we can agree on. The stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go through such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? The nerve of you to disagree with me. Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail? Here's the mail that never fails. It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to yell, mail! Now, if you want to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where is your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that the poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together. What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. Are they? Oh no. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it. But I want to see it. But I can't. But I can see it. I think I know how Mr. I think I know how Mr. Mishamet was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misham this stamp of death. If you remember, this red envelope mentions an enclosed stamp. Use it within a few days or some shit like that. Hello? Isn't this the envelope? The one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. Here we go. Mr. Bisham, I deposited $100,000 in a designated account. Please send a receipt once you've confirmed the transfer. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. Sign the paper and send the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within something days. I need not remind you to speak of this to no one. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. Oh, that was a 3. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Oh! In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, the click gasp, end quote. Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? And then he would put it in his letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. What would have imagine if, so this 15 minutes before the poison kills you, right? What would have happened if he had licked the envelope, licked the stamp, put it on the envelope, and then didn't mail it out right away? Like, what if he had to go take a shit or something, and he was in the bathroom for 15 minutes? Then the letter would have never been sent out. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath, and the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently thanks to the postal system. Support your local postal system, please. Especially American friends, USPS, please support them. They need all the help they can get, given how the administration fucked them over, and whoever's running, the postmaster now is a pizza to do. Support the USPS. Also, if you live in another country, you can support your local postal system too. I'm sure you guys are fine though. Such a splendid imagination you have, L4head. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poison stamp was inside the envelope from 7 years ago. Yeah? Is that what you would have us believe? Really? Well, it is a bit of a stretch, but then there is a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? As small as a postage stamp, I guess. A poison stamp in this envelope. A stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well? It was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence. I see. Very well. I move to. It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein Clavier. What? Who? Ah! What? A what? Emma? Emma? Are you secretly Kristoff? That's fucked up, bro. Well, like my Kristoff Gavin impression? Did I sound like him? Why would you suddenly mimic why would you suddenly do an impression of a man who killed someone? You're weird. And specifically him. Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking at, Fraulein Detective? Someone had to come dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case. Mess? You know, none of this would have happened if you had just trusted in science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in that envelope, easy. Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective? Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? Ah, that's right! The poison detection spray! Produce the right envelope at once! You can open it you can open it on the authority of the court. It's open! Not that it matters, because we read through it anyway, so why would we not open it? I don't know. Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atrocanine residue.
I don't believe it! A murder weapon from the past. Now 7 years later it bears its fangs at last.
Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out.
Figured out what?
He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp.
And put this decisive evidence in a frame?
You know, it would make more sense for that if it were me. If I had an inkling that a stamp was poisoned, wouldn't you think to throw it out? That's weird that you would frame it, but alright.
Ah, you're still here?
Can I make a statement here on the record? I sparked Razortooth Brushel, claim the scoop is mine! Drew Misham killed in cold blood by sender of 7-year-old letter. End quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay. End quote.
Order! 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 I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit, this is all coming as quite a shock. And to think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp has taken straight to afterlife. End quote.
Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge.
I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo! I think we just won.
Very well, this court finds a defendant.
Objection!
Oh.
Is this the bright future of our legal system?
Prosecutor, Gavin?
A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago? Tickets for Gavnier's shows are invalid after 2 weeks.
But it doesn't make any sense any other way.
It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Air Forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Emma explained that! He must have realized it was poison! Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sent a trap and put the stamp in the frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot. He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang that trap on himself? I mean, he's old. Maybe he could have possibly forgotten. You don't know. You don't know his life.
Well, I admit, this is all quite shocking myself.
You could also make the art. Well, no, never mind.
It does seem highly unlikely that he would fall foul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years.
Apollo! I don't think we're winning anymore.
I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you.
Objection!
Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope?
The poison stamp?
Where exactly is this poison stamp again?
Have you brought it to court for us?
Ugh.
I see no proof that such a thing ever existed.
Objection!
What about the atrocanine residue, huh?
Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atrocanine residue. But Air Forehead, it's certainly no stamp.
Yeah, but
I could say stamp on it and he would still be like, I don't fucking see a stamp, bruh. Even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all.
Erk.
Huh, I don't remember what happens from here. I believe we've come to a conclusion. Again.
Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be a coincidence.
I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroconine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. An envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it.
Yes, but even if this envelope contained the poison stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame. Why you would put it in a frame, I don't know. Why you not just throw it out if it's poison, you weirdo. He never would have used that stamp.
I'm afraid you're right. Which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case.
I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroconine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us?
The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense. Which means that one of our clues must be a fake.
Ah, a fake clue. Fascinating.
And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, ja. The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison trail is none other than...
I know the answer, I wasn't sure how to go about getting to it. The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand.
I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself.
Objection!
Congratulations, you've completely lost me.
Well then find me, bitch! We're right here in the same room!
So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger? It makes a good story, I'll give you that.
Why my eyes suddenly hurt? The fake clue? Fakes? Forgeries? I know that face! That's the I just had an idea face! I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. Where is he going with it? What if our forger is the fake? Oh! I remember now. Oh shit! That's an aspect of the game that I completely forgot about. Or aspect of the story I forgot about. Okay, come again. Holy shit. Wow, that was weird. That was weird being like, I know this game in and out, and then being like, oh shit, I forgot about that. 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into the very same trap and dies. Why?
That's what I want to know.
Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's two forgers, and one of them was a fake.
Order! Order! Order!
So are you telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You'd better not be claiming that there was some kind of switcheroo.
I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was.
If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Admittedly, the logic here seems kinda off, but alright. Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was... Yeah, see what I pressed there? You see who I picked? Obviously, the answer is obvious when you said there's only one other person who it could have been. There can only be one explanation. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham.
Order! 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 Stop saying order! Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you!
I kinda agree. I mean, Vera? A forger? I mean, we know she's an artist, right? She's carrying a sketch pad around? I mean, that's an inclination of something. Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in the trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger.
Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense.
One more thing. Oh, okay. I get it now. Wait. Yes, I get it now. Never mind. I figured out why the trail of thought was led to here. I will maybe, if I remember, bring it up later. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints are found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well, so much guitar riffing. Fascinating. Oh, there you go. Compliments. Compliments to the chef. The chef being Apollo. Oh, hey, Vera.
Vera Misham, you've been paying attention to the trial so far?
Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Misham? So, this is okay. Well, let me advance. This is something that was a little bit confusing, but was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. See, that was where the part that was confusing, right? Because when you think about how they're positioned, it looks like she's staring at the side where Apollo is, like, which would be here on this side, like towards this direction. But and it looks like Gavin is on the right. But apparently she's supposed to be staring at Gavin, and Gavin's apparently on this side. Which, if you're viewing from, like theoretically, if you're viewing it from her side or her angle, like if you're facing where she's facing, then it makes sense that Gavin would be on the right side. But at first glance, it's kind of confusing. That's what I was about to say. I don't know. There was no point of saying that. You see that? It's weird because it pans over and it shows. Wait. No, that doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute. When you're facing the direction of Vera, Gavin's on the left side, right? So why the fuck is why is she looking over on the right? I don't get it. Never mind. I don't fucking care. Whatever. I'm used to being stared at by the Frauleins, believe me. Though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. I wonder what's the logic behind that? Her staring off to her right. So the forger, Drew Misham, was you? Yes, it was me. What? See? If she looks to the right, it's that. The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. That doesn't make any sense. I wonder why they decided that. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. I thought I figured it out, but apparently I didn't figure it out. Well, to us, where we're facing it, it would be to the right, which would make sense, but we're not very... Whatever, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Let's keep going, yeah? No break. Fuck breaks. I'll probably complain about it in like 20 minutes from now.